Hi, I'm Waq.
Hey, and I'm Pat. Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Weekly Orbit this week, ending Friday, September 27th. Back for the last several weeks or months, I remember complaining to you about, man, wouldn't it be nice to have some positive price action to talk about, some green candles? Well, this is
hmm
the week. Finally, we got some good news to talk about with price action.
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought it would be good to start out the episode with your bullish sentiment. You said, I digest hours of Rocket Pool and Ethereum news every day. I've never been more bullish than I am right now on the amazing work being done on both. 2025 is going to be an incredible year, and I'm here for it. So,
Absolutely. No.
sounds like you're feeling upbeat.
Yeah, I am actually, in the short term, maybe not like, and I kind of talked about this last week as well, right? Like, I don't know what's going to happen in the short term, but the things that like really give me comfort, like, I guess in crypto is, there's this idea of like, did they build in the bear market, right? And we're not in the bear market right now. Like, I don't think we're in the bear market, but it feels bearish, like sentiment feels bearish. So then you think like, what's happening? Like, what's the work going on? And you'll see with Rocket Pool, right? Like we are about to go to, well, I'm not going to give too many spoilers for today's episode, but we're making progress on NodeSet. We're making progress on ETH only validators, and we are making significant progress on Saturn 1 and, Saturn 2 and getting all those things sorted out. So Rocket Pool community is shipping hard, like, and the team is shipping hard. And that's amazing, right? Like, this is building happening in this bearish time. With Ethereum, like, I'm kind of like filling in a little bit for Anthony Sasano right now. So I'm digesting all this Ethereum news and like, stats and projects that are developing and like all this really amazing stuff that's happening. And so much of it is on Ethereum. Like the metrics for layer twos are just phenomenal, like hitting all-time highs in ETH valuation, hitting all-time high in transactions, activity. Some of these metrics are gameable, but the reality of the matter is that, Ethereum is thriving right now. The main thing that's not thriving is the price, right? And like, when the price isn't doing well, sentiment kind of shifts bearish, like people focus on negative too much. So I think what the purpose of this tweet for me was like, hey, look, price for Rocket Pool's RPL is down bad. Price for ETH was down bad. Like sentiment was in the gutter. But when you take a step, just a tiny step back and look at all the amazing things that are happening, there is so much stuff that's happening. And that's not to say that, RPL is going to be the best performing token of 2025. That's not to say that ETH is going to be the best performing token of 2025.
Rocket
There might
Pool
be,
right here.
yeah,
Right
well,
here. It better be.
hopefully it will be, that's why we have our bags. We believe that it's going to do really well. Otherwise we would have sold our bags, right? We would have capitulated, but there might be other tokens that do better, but that's just crypto. There's always something that does better, right? But the reality of it is that where we are right now, I honestly do think that Rocket Pool's RPL and Ethereum's Ether tokens are going to do really, really strongly in the next year. And of course, this is lining up with like the classic 4-year crypto cycle. And
I
every
know.
time we say it's not going to happen again, it's not going to happen again, it's too easy, it's too easy. But it's lining up to happen again. Like, we got 50 basis point cut last week. It looks like we're going to get another 50 basis point cut in November. It looks like we might get another 50 basis point cut in December. Like, that's what the Fed Watch tool's kind of like looking at now, that, we might be getting another full percentage point down before the end of the year. And if that happens, I think that's going to set the most incredible catalyst for 2025. And that's what I said. I'm here for it. Like
I'm here for it.
this is the ride now. And seriously though, like for me, bear market is in some ways easier to navigate than the bull market. And I said this in 2021 as well. And, before that, I was like, when the prices are going down, I just buy, right? Because I have conviction. Like I bought in 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021. Like I've been buying the whole time, like whether the prices are up or down, I've just been buying. And the thing that I've never done, or that I've been really, really bad at doing, is selling. And now I'm just like, I'm going to sell this cycle. I'm going to sell. I have to sell, but I don't know how that's going to work out. So yeah, like
No,
it's going to be,
I think we've
it's going to be
talked
an
about
interesting
that.
year.
Yeah, it's almost harder to sell than it is to buy, right? And the bottom
Yeah.
end, when there's blood in the streets, it feels like for me, it's easier to buy because it's the conviction. And then what's at the top of the market, it's hard to sell because of greed, right? You're like, oh, I can squeeze
Yeah.
out just a little more on this. And
And,
so,
and
yeah, I hear you. I
the,
hear what
the,
you're saying.
the thing is that like with the bear market, it drags on for so long that you kind of get
Yeah.
desensitized to that brutality of it, right? Like, how down bad everything is. It's like, oh, look, it's just the same as it was yesterday, but you don't think that, hey, it's down 50% from like 3 months ago or down 80% from a year ago. You don't think that. You just think, oh, like, it's flat, right? And so you kind of get adjusted to that, like, a frog in the being boiled alive kind of situation. Like, it happens so slowly that you just kind of get adjusted to it. But the bull market is so intense. Like, it's like a year, for the proper thing, but that euphoric period can be anywhere from like a couple of weeks to maybe 3 months if you're lucky. And that window is so small, and the gains that you can make within that are so big that like it's really hard to play. Yeah, it's really hard. And
you gotta be in the money.
So
11
that's
days, 11 days of the bull market consists of the majority of the gains. So it's exactly. Like you said, it's really compressed. We have these long periods of just sideways price action or bearish, but then when it goes hard, and you got to be. That's why it's so hard to time the market, because you could be left on the sidelines and you missed, some major gains.
Absolutely.
It reminds me of you were saying that you're doing the Ethereum news, and like it seems like every day, Waq, there's another like bank issuing stable coins. There's another layer 2 that's coming online. There's real world assets coming on. There's some more comments by Larry Fink on CNBC about how big bullish he is. It's just, there's a lot of building going on, and it's so much of it's on Ethereum, and it's almost, the L2 thesis is playing out, and people are building, and we're, like you said, we're here for it. Yeah, let's move on. One other, while we're talking markets. So this has been going around, this chart by Raoul, showing the global liquidity compared to the price of Bitcoin. And he's making a direct correlation here. If you're watching, you can see essentially what this is saying is when global liquidity increases, so does the price of Bitcoin. There is one caveat to this chart, though, because I thought, man, is it this simple, Waq, where I could just look at this global liquidity chart and just trade based on this? But on the left side, you have the price of, you have the amount of global liquidity, which is linear. On the right side, you have the price of Bitcoin, which is logarithmic. So it's kind of, you're kind of really
massaging the data.
You're massaging a little bit, and it's compressing a lot of things and probably exaggerating the correlation. And I think this is a little bit intellectually misleading.
Dubious.
However, I mean, in general, if you said, hey, when there's more money floating around, assets go up. I mean, in general, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I've got an extra $100,000, I can buy more stuff. And when liquidity shrinks, people have less money, they buy less assets. So it's creating some buzz. I thought I'd throw it in here. Do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. So liquidity and price are definitely correlated, and this is something that we've known in crypto for quite a while. And one of the reasons why we have things like the incentive management committee is to have as much liquidity as possible for our ETH, and hoping that we get more liquidity for RPL in the future as well. But just as a whole, like in the macro markets, when there's more money sloshing around, then it goes further and further out on the risk curve, right? And to get those returns. And there is a strong correlation, and this definitely, the data has been massaged to kind of like paint a picture that is bullish. It just kind of shows that we'll be at 100K basically for Bitcoin by the end of the year. And that's not quite how it works. But one of the things that's really interesting is that this is just what we're seeing is 2024. And there are big economies in the world right now who are moving towards quantitative easing instead of going through quantitative tightening. The US still isn't there yet. We might get news about that moving into quantitative easing in November, but maybe December. And that the chart for 2025 for global liquidity is just going to be like astronomically higher than this. I think there's going to be a lot more liquidity coming into the market in 2025. And like we just saw with China this week, they're already starting to like stimulate their economy. And, China, whatever their thing with crypto might or might not be, but the fact is that it's a major economy in the world. And it's only a matter of time basically before that starts getting felt around the world, right? Because Chinese, they export so much, and they now import and stuff as well. And that money that's, kind of starting to slosh around in China is going to start going elsewhere. And when money elsewhere starts sloshing around, it's going to go to crypto, hopefully. And then from crypto, we'll all get rich. And this is the kind of thing, like I was saying, like, it sounds like it's easy, right? It really does. Like, it's like, oh, this is, you held and the money price went up and whatever. But in the day to day, when you're so close to it, it's really hard to believe it. Like, when RPL was $8 or $8.90 or whatever it was, a couple of weeks ago, we were all just like, worried and scared. People were scared, right? There was a lot of fear. And when it comes to, in a year's time, potentially, and RPL's doing much better than that and much stronger than that, then people were just like, oh, it was so easy, but it didn't feel it at the time, right? Like, no. So I think that's the main thing. Like, just look at the bigger picture and just be patient. And the market rewards those who spend time in the market, not those who time the market, right? And those are some of the rules that we kind of live by, and that I live by. And don't get blown up, of course, is the main one. And just stay in there and hang on, and hopefully we'll be parachuting off into the sunset. So yeah,
and landing on your island, right?
No, on Masso's Island. I'm not too greedy. I won't have my own island. I'll just hang out with Masso's Island. So
you're just
it's all good.
You're gonna drive your yacht to his island, then, I guess, right?
my paddle boat.
Because ETH guys, Bitcoin guys got the Lambos, and ETH guys have the yachts, as I understand, right?
Oh, I didn't know that actually. That's nice meme.
Yeah. That's what I understand. So speaking of ETH, one thing we've noticed this last week, Waq, is gas. Gas has been going up. Right now it's around 19, 20 GWEI. For weeks there, we were at single-digit GWEI, or even like one GWEI, or even less than one GWEI, on the slowest periods. I think if I had to project, some of this has to do with a lot of there's eigenlayer airdrops going on, between eigenlayer, Swell, Renzo, EtherFi. They're all like, people are all doing their claiming, which is probably increasing some gas. But just general, as prices gone up, people are starting to do some more trades, more usage. And we'll switch quickly here to the Ethereum ETF flows. This week, this is the first positive week I can remember in a while. We've had a net of about 35 million positive flows since last Friday when we did this. So the last couple of days, especially on the 24th, we had a positive flow of about 62.5 million. Yesterday, we had a positive flow of about 43 million. So some good news out of Ethereum ETF land, and that's reflected in the price, right? We're at 2,625 as of this morning. That's up 7.5% on the week. We're up 12% over the last 2 weeks. If we take a look at RocketLend Price, RPL, also up 11% on the week. We're at $11.23. So the ratio is up a touch. Right now it's at 0.00427. So it's up just a little bit from last week. So some good price action here. What do you?
The charts are
quick
green.
Thoughts? Yeah. Any quick thoughts on that?
I'm just like, I don't know what's going to happen in the short term, right? Like that's what I said before. In fact, I've actually made some bearish statements for the short term, with fears of recession maybe in the US and other things that might or might not happen. But I've not sold any of my crypto. I'm not panic selling anything like that. The only thing is, like, I'm just waiting with some cash on the sidelines to see if I get, like, buying opportunities of a lifetime kind of thing. But otherwise, I'm just waiting. I'm just watching the markets and I'm enjoying it. Like, I hope the prices keep going up. I hope that we get green candles every day for a year. Like, that would be amazing. But of course, that's not how it works, right? Like, it's not quite that easy. But there'll be ups and downs. We'll have green weeks and red weeks. But it does feel nice that, over the last couple of weeks, we've had green weeks, and that does feel nice. I think it very quickly starts showing in the community. I think if we get a nice pump, to $15 or $20 especially, I think sentiment in the community would do much better. And hopefully that, comes with a ratio gain instead of just getting left behind more against ETH. But, getting the ratio up to like 0.005 might be a psychological barrier that we can get through. Getting it up to 0.0075, which is the low from summer 2022. That might be a good place to get to as well, the previous low that we had. So those are some psychological barriers that are coming up. And I hope that, we can kind of sustain above those. And I think once we get above 0.01, then people will be like, the bull market is on for Rocket Pool, like, for the RPL token. But hey, as long as the prices go up, then that definitely has a positive market sentiment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Speaking of RPL here, we had now 1KX they've had two huge nodes. They withdrew on the first node. It looks like they're doing their second withdrawal on the second node. They withdrew 110,000 RPL. So it looks like they're making a controlled exit from the ecosystem. It's unfortunate, but as we talked about in prior episodes, it doesn't look like they're just totally market dumping this. We're not sure. Have they been selling, or has anyone been tracking them?
Yeah. So for the first one, we saw that it went to Binance, and from Binance, then we got an article later that it had been sold, and that had been verified to me by someone who knew someone who I guess knew someone that in fact had been sold. So that was 300,000 RPL then. Now they've got another 300,000. It seems like they're following the same pattern of like withdrawing 110,000 first and 220,000 after that or thereabouts. And it looks like that's what's happening again. It most likely will be sent to Binance. This news is really fresh. It's from Thursday morning, and I haven't actually had a chance to poke around with it too much. So I'm a tiny bit behind on the news. But otherwise, it's most likely it will be sold. Yeah. And yeah. Sorry,
go ahead. I was going to say that. Go ahead.
When we get those kind of monthly short squeeze attempts that come through on Binance,
yes.
And I feel like the last one that happened a few weeks ago was kind of tempered by 1KX selling into it. It seems like that's what they sold into because the price jumped, 30 or 40%, I think it was, or something like that. I forgot the exact numbers. And then it kind of retraced a little bit more slowly, but like it did retrace. I think that's what happened, is that 1KX sold into that. And I think that that's what might happen again, is that they'll set sells kind of at 20-30% above where the market is now. So if we do get that pump in the next week or 2 weeks, like we tend to get fairly regularly, it might be that they kind of sell into that again. So I don't know what they're going to do. I have no insider knowledge about this, but what are your ideas?
It seems like that's a lot of RPL, and we absorbed that hit, the first 300,000 wave.
Yeah.
And so it gives me confidence that, okay, well, we'll have to get through this one too, but we may not see a real a major hit to the price because we absorbed the last one. Like you said, there was it looks like that monthly huge candle we get. People are playing, doing their trading, and it was, hopefully we get one more of those that will take care of this 1KX, and then hopefully we'll have some big whale come in and do some major buying.
Yeah.
Let's move to some Rocket Pool news. Talking about RocketLend, and this is too bad. Ramana, I know, had spent a lot of time working on RocketLend, which, just for viewers, was a way for you to borrow RPL for your node without actually buying any RPL. You're going to use your ETH that you have
in your node
as collateral, and then you'd be given the RPL. So it's a really cool idea, but with Saturn Zero, with ETH only validators coming up, it kind of put a damper on that whole idea. And so in this post, it looks like the GMC and the Ramana came to a decision to sunset the RocketLend at the moment. And so, my thoughts real quick on this, Waq, is this is a really good idea. Maybe it was just the wrong time. Imagine if this had come out like with Atlas or around that time. Things would have been a lot different. But because it was spawned a little later, maybe it's just the timing was off on this cool idea. What do you think?
Yeah, so one of the things that we needed for RocketLend to work was the separate ETH and RPL withdrawal addresses. So because that was kind of what this would be tapping into. And what happened is they just, after Houston, Ramana's original idea was to have it launch right after Houston, but it didn't work out. The GMC deferred the grant to begin with, and then we needed to do more work on the protocol itself, RocketLend itself, to get it ready for audits. There wasn't enough community interest in helping Ramana with that work, even though people could get paid for the work, from what Ramana got from the GMC. So what ended up happening was it got delayed and delayed and delayed. And then once the Saturn roadmap became official, then the community kind of jumped on this idea of RPIP 62 or Saturn 0. And in all honesty, like that is a superior product for the community because it removes a lot of, worrying about your withdrawal address, like changing it to RocketLend. People might be uneasy about doing that kind of stuff. But the other thing is that, of course, you want staking to be as easy as possible. Rocket Pool, we want to grow our TVL as much as possible going into Saturn 1. And with RocketLend, I think it would have been a great product. Like I was a huge supporter of it, but I think uptake might have been a little bit slower. It would have taken a bit longer for people to trust it, for it to get Lindy. However, with RPIP 0, Rocket Pool, it has been going for years. People trust it. People stake billions of dollars with Rocket Pool. And it just makes it an easier thing. So the two main things that, would have made RocketLend successful is people who are current node operators and wanted RPL rewards. They would have used RocketLend to top up and then they would have started earning money. However, that cohort might go away with removal of the cliff in the Saturn Zero vote. And then the second cohort was RocketLend would attract new node operators because they wouldn't need RPL anymore. They could just borrow it from RocketLend. However, we don't need that anymore either because RPIP 62 will let you start ETH-only validators. So from a UX perspective, Saturn Zero is better. For Ramana, of course, it's a huge hit, and I feel incredibly bad for that. But I think that. I said the Trident was going to work really well, but I think, we'll still get a lot of benefits from, Saturn Zero and then NodeSet as well. So hopefully the Biden, I guess, if you can call it that,
Biden.
like the two pokes instead of a three pokes, but hopefully it should still be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, Saturn Zero. So the Halulo.
Yeah.
Did I get it right this time?
Halulo.
Yeah. Posted here that the draft text for the proposal to improve our RPL tokenomics in the short term to unlock. So this is the draft for the vote. We're coming close here. This is going to go probably within the next week. We should have this up for an actual vote, right?
Yeah, so I think, if I can remember correctly, the sentiment poll has its 2 weeks up on Friday. So then Langas, I think, is still the one who has to kind of put the vote on Snapshot. And then there's the RPIP 63, which is the hotfix that had a 1 week sentiment poll. And that, I think, is also up on Friday. So I don't know if Langas wants to spend some of his Saturday in Australia, like, getting the vote up, in which case it'll be up on Saturday. But it might be more likely that it's up on Sunday night, Monday morning, Australian time, Sunday night US time, and then it'll be ready to go, and then that will run for 2 weeks, and then we'll know where the community wants ETH-only validators or the Cliff stuff to go. It's going to be really interesting. The draft text here shows that it's going to be ranked choice voting, so you'll choose how you want it to go. The main choices, of course, are with the Cliff or without the Cliff, ETH-only validators, and then you want everything to stay the way it is now. But I didn't go too much into the text like on my show because there was still some drafts. I think there's a final version out now, but I like to wait for the actual vote to be on Snapshot for people for people just to go through it and tell people through the vote. One thing that I've been making clear is like what I'm voting for, and I'm still not 100% decided, but I think I'm fairly decided that I will vote for ETH-only validators, so changing the RPL requirement, and also removal of the cliff, so people below 10% will start earning rewards. Now, that will impact my yield, so I'm one of the few people who's still earning RPL rewards because my ratio is above the minimum. But that means I'm going to get fewer rewards, right? Because I'm letting a whole lot more people get rewards who previously weren't getting rewards will get rewards. So there's a chance that my rewards will go down by 30 or 40% from what they were this month. But the positive is, I think, that the positives far outweigh the negatives for me personally. That's what I'm thinking, is that more people will come online with Rocket Pool, more people will stake with Rocket Pool, the TVL will increase, and therefore price impacts, going up
Sediment,
will out
the whole thing.
Yeah. All of that. Yeah. That I think will have a bigger impact on my portfolio value than me earning, a few extra RPL every month.
Right. Yeah. We're kind of socializing the rewards amongst a lot bigger base. So probably in the end, that's better for the whole protocol. You know, if you've got
Yeah.
everybody is feeling better sentiment wise and they're getting rewards, that generally is a positive thing for the protocol and
Absolutely.
probably long-term price, right?
Yeah.
It's speculative because we don't know. You know, everyone's taking their best guess what would happen, you know, because human psychology is tough, especially with markets, to try to determine what will happen. Well, we think this could happen or that could happen, but we take our best guess and then go with it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's exciting.
Yeah. So on to some more exciting news. NodeSet stated that today is an exciting milestone for decentralized Ethereum staking. The Constellation testnet is live, and all NodeSet operators can now participate. The name of it, Hyperdrive, is the software that the node operator will be running. And I think I read here too, if you are on the list that you've already been whitelisted to be a operator for NodeSet, that you have to run this the testnet on your system. They want you to start running it to get used to it. And I think there's about 250 or 260, as I recall, that Nick had said on your launchpad that already been whitelisted. So you should get quite a few people on the testnet to start poking around with it. But this is another a milestone for NodeSet. We're coming close to actual launch when we start getting the testnets out there and live. So do you have any thoughts on NodeSet?
Yeah, so NodeSet are getting closer and closer to launch, which is actually really cool because, just a few weeks ago, we were saying that, they might come in November, like who knows if there is any more delays, etc. But they've had 2 audits completed. One was with an individual that went well. Then one was with ChainSafe, I think. That went well. There were no critical bugs found. Now it's going through the consensus, Sigma Primes. Yeah, the third one. So the 2 big ones and 1 small one so 1 big one and 1 small one are finished. 1 big one is undergoing right now, but it's close to finishing, and they haven't found any critical bugs or something that they think that they have to go back and change majorly in the contracts. So it looks good. So they were confident enough to launch a testnet, and they think that while that audit is taking place, they can start getting community feedback and community responses on what's going on. And it looks like, and if something big was found, what they would do was they would have a regenesis of the testnet, just like scrap the first one, have, testnet number 2, and then get people onto that to test. But it seems like everything is going well so far. They've been doing daily calls for people to kind of ask questions or, walk through with them to get an idea of what's going on or what to do or what step. So that's all looking pretty good. One of the things that I've been doing with NodeSet is kind of getting different pieces of information about what's going on. So on last week's episode, we talked about having Nick on the show and kind of talking about the journey that, he's taken with NodeSet from ideation through foundation, through development, and now through mainnet launch. It was a really, really cool story of the work that he's done and all the challenges along the way and all the successes along the way. This week I had Wander on my show, and Wander and I talked for quite a while about all the different technical elements of NodeSet, how it's coming together, what it's going to do, what it's focused on. Next week we have that's my face, yeah. So that was actually a really good chat that we had, and I really enjoyed talking to Wander about this stuff. And then next week, I will have Joe, formerly of Rocket Pool, currently of NodeSet, doing a step-by-step launch of the testnet. So we will we'll share with the users about following a video guide basically on how to do it, and kind of some of the challenges that might come up along the way, or what's why things are happening the way they're happening. So we'll be starting with a new box that has an OS on there, like a Linux box, and then we'll install Hyperdrive on there. We'll add the Constellation module. We'll do the deposits, do the starting up validators and all that kind of stuff. So all the step-by-step guide. So that should be really good fun as well. And in the week after that, I think the one that most people are excited for is I'll have Rhett from Gravitar, and they're the ones who are actually launching Constellation. So I'll get Rhett from Gravitar on the show, and Rhett will talk about the tokens, liquidity, incentives, all of that good stuff, how much node operators will earn, where the money's going to go, all that kind of stuff. There's going to be some really good information there, I think. So these are going to be weekly cadence, like, leading up to launch. I don't have any insider information. Sadly, they've been very tight-lipped about, launch. I don't think they really want to set expectations and then have them dashed or anything like that. But my estimate is that they'll be launching in 2 to 3 weeks' time. So I'm looking at, October 15th to maybe October, whatever, like, the second to third week of October. I don't know how that's going to work. Like, we'll get a better idea of it soon. But it looks like, I think that's a possible target. And that's just me speculating. Like I said, I don't have any insider knowledge. So that NodeSet will then get like 2 weeks run. And then we will have Saturn 0 hopefully live around November 1st. I think those are just numbers, like I said, that I'm working with, but I'm incredibly excited about all of this. So it's really cool.
Yeah. NodeSet also, if you want to just, it says here in the announcement, if you're not an operator, but you simply want to test out XRETH or XRPL, you can do that right now at Gravitas Holsky's site. So if you want to play around with the different tokens, you can do that too. It's cool. You're doing this, this nice feature with NodeSet, walking through Nick and then Wanderer and now Joe next time to get listeners fully informed about the protocol. And I was just guessing in my head that by November 1st they would be launching, but maybe we'll get them a week or two before that. We'll see.
I hope so.
Thomas G, just on a side, I remember he said, Thomas is one of our largest whales, and he's been having problems with his nodes lately. And he threw out a comment there, like, maybe maybe he's better off because his time is divided now between Arrow, his company, and life, that maybe he might take some of his ETH and RPL and just stick it in a NodeSet. Did you see that comment?
I did see that comment. I covered it on my show as well. And after that, sadly, Thomas actually left the Rocket Pool server. Like, that was news that I shared on yesterday's episode. And that is not because of, any dissatisfaction with Rocket Pool specifically. Like, he mentioned to some community members that he just needed a break. And I think there's life stuff going on. He had an accident a couple of months ago, that was quite serious. I think he's fine, but I think it's just other stuff that's happening and he's taking a step back from being a node operator. There is a chance that he will give his ETH and RPL to NodeSet. That would be absolutely amazing. And I think that that would actually be really amazing to see, like, for NodeSet, because they will get, 1 million RPL potentially, and tens of thousands of ETH. That would be beyond their wildest dreams. But of course, that won't help Rocket Pool necessarily, in the sense that it would just be like a break even. Like, Thomas would leave and then Thomas would come back, so it'd be a wash in that sense. But for NodeSet, like, we've got 270 node operators right now. That would take us, 1,000 validators would get each person 4 validators, which is actually pretty nice. And then any organic, inflows they have after that of their own, that would potentially be worth, a lot for us. So I'm kind of excited if Thomas wants to give me his node, through NodeSet to stake on his behalf. I'll take it. So gotta get earning
problems that with his node. I mean, I remember
for a long time.
Yeah, one thing was with his internet service provider. He was having issues, and then I remember his cat got into the cables in his closet. So he's just and then he's got life. So maybe he's thinking, hey, I'll just make this easy. I'll just dump it in NodeSet. I'll let the community run validators for me, and it would make the charts for NodeSet look really great in TVL, right? And it would be a wash. Yeah. In the short run, we get a hit on the TVL on Rocket Pool, but then it would be made up, within a couple of weeks. Yeah. Let's move on to our wins for the week. Do you have one?
Yeah, my win, I think, was just getting to know a lot more about what's happening with NodeSet and, like, all the really cool stuff that's going on there. I'm so excited about them launching. I really do wish them the best of success. They put so much, like, blood, sweat, and tears into this protocol, and they're right now at that finish line. And I think that is something that makes me happy for them, is that the fruit of their labor is almost ready to harvest now. And after that, they put it out into the world, and it's up to the world to decide about how they want to relate to that. But I think they've made themselves come forward with a really good product, really good perspective, and I'm cheering them on so much. So that's my win for the week.
Cool. My win is Joe, our good friend over at NodeSet, formerly of Rocket Pool. He was the principal developer for the Smart Node stack for Rocket Pool. He shipped it. and he's maintained it for so long. And then now he's shipping Hyperdrive, the new kind of smart node for the NodeSet operation. So here's a guy. He's shipped two major software pieces for two staking providers to help decentralize Ethereum. I think that's awesome. He almost single-handedly has helped Ethereum and helped all those thousands or at least hundreds and hundreds or perhaps thousands of individual node operators with easy to use software. So good for Joe.
Amazing.
That he's my win for the week. And I'm excited going to have him on your show or the Launchpad, in the next, do you expect next week to do a recording or?
Yeah, I think so. We've started talking about it and it likely will be next week. Like Nick was last Tuesday, I released the episode on Wednesday, and then Wanda was on Tuesday and I released the episode on Wednesday. So there's a chance that we'll kind of keep that same cadence. So it might be look forward to Wednesday, maybe an episode coming out. But if you are one of those 270 people, you can't get validators unless you go through the testnet. So make sure that you do that. Like Wander on the episode was talking about how it's worth having a dedicated machine, just because your main keys are on your machine. It's a hot wallet, right? Your node is a hot wallet, and you might have like good security, like withdrawal addresses and all that kind of stuff. But it just is good practice. He says to have a separate machine for NodeSet, and so. I think is worth listening to.
Machine. But if you're running on Ethereum, like I say, a Rocket Pool node, you'd want to have a separate NodeSet.
That's what he thinks. He thinks, yeah. But I think that I don't think everyone is going to do that. But I think that's what he thinks. And the thing that he was saying was because you can have that machine pointing to your main NUC or whatever you have, you can just probably use a Raspberry Pi just to run the validators and then having everything happening on your main machine. So just to give that division of keys, but maybe that, is a little bit overkill for some people. Some people might feel fine with that, but there you go.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that wraps today's show. Thanks for listening and watching. Like and subscribe. Waq, it's been a great week. I hope we have another series of green candles to talk about next week. And
I have another win as well. I totally forgot about this. That I hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Yeah, so it was nice. It's been over 2 years in the making. So slow growth, but. You said like and subscribe, which is what reminded me, because those are like still a meme in the community that I don't say like and subscribe ever, so that kind of stuff. But it was really touching that that happened. It's only like 9% of YouTube channels reach that point, so it's really, really great that it's happened. And
you're in the top 10%. That's awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's really good. You're building an empire over there.
Not quite, but maybe if the bull market treats me well, I'll get a full media studio and like hire people to like take it to the next level or something, and get a
like
social.
David Hoffman. You'll have your Bronx loft apartment with brick walls and all kinds of fancy studio lights.
I don't have a punk though, so I need that. I've got the studio lights, and I've got like the fancy audio setup now, so I'm getting there slowly but surely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Well, we'll see you next week, guys. Take care. See you, Waq.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.